Our top story this morning, the FBI says it is investigating the San Bernardino shooting massacre as an act of terrorism. The investigators say Syed Rizwan Farook and his wife Tashfeen Malik carried out the attacks and that Malik had declared support for the Islamic State in an online post.
Meanwhile, the Los Angeles Times is reporting that Farook had contact with people from the Nusra front in Syria and the radical Shabab group in Somalia. Julianna Goldman is in our Washington bureau with the latest. Good morning, Julianna.
Good morning. Well, FBI Director James Comey is saying that they will probably find that associates, friends, or family members didn't report signs ahead of time. He cautioned the investigation is only a couple of days old, but so far, he says it does not look like Syed Farook and his wife Tashfeen Malik were part of an organized terror cell.
This is now a federal terrorism investigation led by the FBI.
FBI Director James Comey said it appears Syed Farook and his wife Tashfeen Malik were radicalized and potentially inspired by foreign terrorist organizations. But beyond that, much remains unknown.
There's a lot of evidence in this case that doesn't quite make sense, and so we're trying to be very thoughtful to understand it.
Sources tell CBS News that right before the rampage, Malik, using another name, went on Facebook and pledged her allegiance to ISIS and its leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. But the terror group isn't claiming responsibility for the attack. On Friday, one ISIS-affiliated website said the two suspects were supporters. Comey said so far there's no sign anyone from ISIS communicated with them or provided any guidance.
We are spending a tremendous amount of time, as you might imagine, over the last 48 hours trying to understand the motives of these killers and trying to understand every detail of their lives.
Investigators have recovered computers, thumb drives, and other electronic media from the home where Farook and Malik lived with their 6-month-old daughter. One key find, 2 cell phones discovered in a garbage dumpster that officials believe were damaged deliberately.
This is electronic evidence that these killers tried to destroy and tried to conceal from us, that we now have and are exploiting to try and understand them.
Farook was a U.S. citizen and Malik was Pakistani, living in Saudi Arabia when they met online and married in 2014. They weren't on the FBI's radar prior to the shooting, although Farook did communicate with at least one person in the U.S. who was on an FBI watch list.
There were no contacts between either of the killers and subjects of our investigations that were of such a significance that it raised these killers up onto our radar screen.
Also overnight, another ISIS media arm, a radio station, called the killers supporters and martyrs. Vanita, if it turns out the couple was inspired by ISIS and not directed by the terror group, it would speak to the growing threat of self-radicalized attackers that officials have been warning about for months. They've been voicing concerns about ISIS's vast propaganda machine, particularly on social media, which is calling for sympathizers to carry out attacks around the world.
Julianna Goldman in Washington this morning. Thank you.